Let's go. What's up, everybody? Crypto Okie. Let's go. All right. Let's kind of start with. I guess I got to do the entire screen today. I guess I'm doing the entire screen. That should be fine. I want to look at kind of the bigger picture, and then we'll get into the daily chart. It's looking, Litecoin's looking pretty good today. First is this little Wyckoff accumulation pattern that I'm hoping is what's happening right now with Litecoin on a really long time frame. But you can see we have the A phase here back in the FTX days, back in 2022. And then you can see we kind of rebounded, similar to the B phase in 2023, 2024. And then we kind of got this double, towards the end of the B phase was the last year's kind of top. Well, that was kind of over here, but you can kind of see this kind of looks like that. It kind of has double, but it's fine. And then we've just been going down, which kind of looks like the C phase. And I'm hoping this is the spring to get us out, get us higher. And that's why I have a big high. I have a 10x from these levels. I think 10x is very reasonable. Sounds funny, but 10x, 20x from here, because I see this as the spring, and I'm hoping we break out of this wedge that we'll look out of the daily, which is looking pretty good, and we pretty much go straight up, slowly but up for the rest of the year, and then break these highs as well of 2024, 2025, and then go higher, and at minimum get to this $300, $400 range, and then possibly double that, or I don't know if we can double that, but something like that going into the halving in 1 year. So I mean, that's the big picture for Litecoin for me. I mean, I think it's just interesting to be prepared for something like that, and maybe that's to me, it just seems like I see a vision here that's possible. It's a probability game, of course, and I don't even know the probabilities of that, but that's how that's how you win in crypto in a way. I mean, it's been harder and harder each bull run to make it. So I just see a very good opportunity here, whereas some of the other altcoins, I just don't see that opportunity. XRP, and again, some of these are going to run, and you're going to get good at gains. But I mean, I'm always looking for the home runs. So that's why I think this breakout that we're on the verge of it could happen today, which would be nice. Could really kick something off, but we'll get into that, I guess, in a second. But yeah, so yeah, this is kind of what I see. Big picture is we're at the spring, we're at the very bottom here, hopefully. Again, I don't want to see us go lower, but this just looks, and assuming we break out of the wedge on the daily, that's been in place since October, and then we play this out. This could be very interesting. And again, nobody's in Litecoin. I mean, because if you think about it, I mean, what you've just been losing money. There's nobody left, and that's what you want. I mean, but at the same time, it's hung around. I think it's 23rd highest crypto, so it's like it's in that perfect Goldilocks zone of nobody's in it, but it hasn't like fallen off a cliff and keep going, bottom right, bottom right, bottom right. I mean, it's the same price it was in July of 2017. I mean, that's almost 10 years of sideways. So it's not, with some of the other altcoins you have, I mean, the charts just look kind of like shit or just different. But, um, I mean, think about it. It's been, it's been at, this $47 in 2017. In 2018, it's been at this price. In 2019, in 2020, so 2021, in 2020, it's been in 2022. And, it was above it for the last 3 years, actually. So, I mean, yeah, it's not looking great, of course, but that's what that Wyckoff, it doesn't look great at the spring, you know, that's the point of it. Um, but at the same time, it's at those levels that we've seen before. So I think this is pretty interesting. This is very interesting to me. And that's kind of my hope or my theory. It's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is that we're in a huge Wyckoff accumulation. We're going higher. I love that it's hung around. We got 1 year until the halving. So, yeah. All right. Let's look at the daily. Here's that wedge I'm talking about. That kind of began on October 10th, the liquidation day, which is kind of funny. It's kind of like we didn't have that crash this time. What we had COVID and 2020 crash, and then we had the FTX crash in 2022, I think. And this time we haven't had anything, so that's interesting. But I'm wondering if that liquidation event, even though it didn't mark the bottom, was kind of our event, um, or if we still have something coming, which would be tough, but it would, mark the bottom in a way. COVID was very obvious, of course, hindsight's, but it was, there were some people who called that bottom and knew, and we kind of knew, but and then FTX as well. Um, it was pretty obvious in a way. It's just this time maybe we don't have anything. Um, of course, it was hard to hold on, but it was because it's once it starts going up on those after those crashes, it's not like straight up, and so it's you can get out of trading positions, think your way out of stuff. But anyway, here's the wedge that I love. I love that we touched it so many times and just hugged it, and it looks like we're breaking out today, right now. So I want to see volume. Two things I want to see today, or maybe that this happens next week, which would be fine. Because today's Sunday, so we'll get the close in about 12 hours. I want to see volume double the other days, which we don't see yet, but it's fine. And then on the weekly, which could happen today, but I want to see a daily close above last week's, or a weekly close, I'm sorry. A weekly close above $48. And the higher the better. Um, in a way, yeah, the higher the better. But that could be next week, which would be fine because the TD on the daily has started over. So, um, you know, I think we'll challenge these highs today just because it's looking so good. Maybe challenge these highs and then get a pullback tonight. This, who knows what the stock market is going to do. The stock market will probably dictate how this candle closes in the final hours. So, from the daily point of view, tomorrow, a break above these highs tomorrow or, early next week is better. And then maybe we get the green 3 above the green 1 next week closing, which would be even better in a way. I mean, then we'd have one sideways candle, and then a high. So I like that. So yeah, I just want to see I just want to see some strength breaking this trend line. I don't want to see us break this trend line by going sideways, which is kind of what we're doing. You know what I mean? We're just breaking it by default. I want to see us break it vertical. Vertical. Let's go vertical. Um, let's check out against the pairs. The pairs are looking good again. We'll just start with, well, let's start with Bitcoin. I always like this. Here's the Litecoin Bitcoin chart. We got that kind of secondary right shoulder here. So this is looking a lot better. Still got some work to do. I want to see some closes towards the high of this range in the 0.00074 area would be good for me. Yeah, let's get some close. That's kind of my line. I mean, these charts aren't as the data is just not as good as the USD. As you can see, some of them they don't line up how they should, but that's fine. So it's more of a general feel kind of rather than exact numbers. And there's that 200 that's lining up relatively well. So we'll see. I just like to see when we drop these high numbers, because then the slope will even out a little bit, and just in 1 week we're going to drop some high numbers, which will flatten this the curve of the slope. So that's lining up good. Let's just go back to Litecoin USD for a minute here. There's that 200. See, this one's a lot more difficult. It's just got such an aggressive slope. Let's see when this one takes back. So see this one, we are going to start to lose these big numbers pretty quickly, but it's like we have a month, so I think that's what's going to happen. Maybe in August, I think it's going to be an up and kind of flirt with this line possibly before creating support. So hopefully in August we turn this 200 into support. We got to get some touches. We don't have any touches. We need some touches, get above it for a few bars, but I think we're going to meander with it as it turns up over the next, it's like 25 days essentially. Lose these big high averages, and that'll be nice. So let's look at Litecoin ETH, which I'm liking this kind of hugging up against the cluster of moving averages here against ETH. So again, we still have work to do. Against these pairs. So let's get up above here. Let's kind of bounce around in this 0.026 area and then go higher. That's my hope there. And then the best one, which I like, this pullback, and then we got this is big for me. I mean, we got the pullback and we're going high, and we've bounced. So that's pretty big. That's why I'm not a huge fan of XRP at the moment, going into end of year. So yeah, this is looking pretty good to me. Really good to me. This is the best chart there. All right. Now for kind of the bad part in a way is the order book. I kind of like this. I haven't seen this very often for Litecoin is selling pressure and buying pressure at the same time. And it's looking like the buying pressure is winning, but it's been so obedient to the order book. Whenever we see green, we go up. When we see red, we go down. So I want to see a change in that trend, and we kind of are seeing that a little bit. I mean, we're seeing red. It doesn't have to go down immediately, so this could roll over a little higher. But this is kind of a new phenomena here with selling pressure and buying pressure. So, you know, if we look back, sometimes you get it. I guess more than I realized, but you kind of get the idea that here you're only seeing green, here you're only seeing red. It's a little bit rare to see them both at the same time, so that's interesting. Yeah, I just really want to see a big volume day. That's kind of the most important thing for Litecoin is for us to see volume. And then again, this wedge to me kind of kicks off that Wyckoff spring and says that that possibly was the is the case of what's happening. And then again, the Litecoin halving, I just think possibly that could be the narrative into why this thing goes higher. It's not, charts first and then the narrative second for sure, for me. So, selling into the next year's halving, who knows? Who knows what happens? Um, so yeah, that's pretty interesting. Let's see. Let's check out the Bitcoin dominance chart. Here's that, which I'm anticipating us to, come back to this trend line and the 200, and then hopefully dump over and create a bull run for the altcoins. Check out ETH Bitcoin, which again I'm more bullish on ETH than Bitcoin, because of this breaking the downward channel, creating a higher low from last year. So I think it's going up to that weekly trend line that we set like 5 years ago in 2022. So I think we're getting another touch, possibly going higher. So yeah, I think ETH will outperform Bitcoin by about 15 to 20% over the next few months. I don't know, possibly more. Yeah, into year end. And then but the good part about the order book is Bitcoin's looking real nice. Order book's looking great. ETH has improved significantly. Well, it's getting some red again, but it improved significantly from a couple weeks or last week, because it kind of broke out, but we haven't seen it like follow through that you'd like to see. So that's why I kind of like how Litecoin has broken out of it. This trend line is just been hugging against it, not breaking out yet. Whereas ETH broke out technically, but it's just, I don't love this action, right? It's just like, oh, okay, it broke out kind of. This is kind of like by default, by going right and holding price. I don't love that. So I like this a lot better. And I want to see us go to like $51, $52 today or next week. And then I want to see big volume, which I don't know how that would come in today, but you never know. You got the bots, you got things pump. You never know. I saw Shiba Inu was pumping today. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that, but it's interesting. Sometimes you like to see some stuff pump. It just means that there's some money flowing in. But back to this. Monera's also been doing pretty well. The Monera order book is hard to read. XRP. But yeah, I mean, the most important ones we want to see is obviously Litecoin, but Bitcoin, kind of giving us its blessing. So yeah, Litecoin for the win. We're fiend. I just can't stress that enough, that nobody's in this and we've hung around. That's what you want. That's what you want. So, yeah. All right. Well, Let's go. Peace.